each of you must have had massive sort of other experiences before this. How did Game of Thrones compare to previous work? If we want to take it one.
Should we start at this end and work down?
Yeah, that would be the best.
Well, it's by far and away the biggest thing that I've ever been involved in. And when I did the first season, I don't mind admitting that I didn't think it was going to really work. Okay? So, any financial advice you need or something, come to me because I know exactly what's going on. No, I just thought that it was coming at the end of The Lord of the Rings and a world of fantasy that maybe the desire and appetite had run out in the world. And I just couldn't have been more wrong. It's by far and away the biggest thing and the happiest for me, actually, in my whole career, to think that it gives that much pleasure and, insight into humanity to go around the world. And, you know, I've traveled a lot this year, and wherever I go, the level of interest is it's just very rewarding. And so, yeah, it's the biggest for me.
Yeah, I mean, just to reiterate that, it's huge. I think that's the main difference, is the scale of each episode is like a big film. When I worked in lots of on TV programs, and you think you've done something big, and it's nothing compared to when you go to like a Game of Thrones wedding being filmed, and it's 2 weeks, and some of the best actors not just in Europe, in the world are there, and it's extraordinary, the scale of it. I was lucky because it had already been on a bit before I joined, so I had an idea a bit of how big it was going to be, but being in season 2 compared to season 4, it's just huge. It's huge compared to what it was like. Season 2, it was popular. Season 4 is just extraordinary how popular it is.
And talking of huge, Hatful.
Yeah, it's same for me. It was great honor to be in Game of Thrones and to be part in the season 4 was the biggest thing I probably done in my life, and it was really good experience for me, and yes.
Is anyone watching it in candlelight? Does anyone watch it with the candles on? No. Try it. It's good. Yeah, I mean, Game of Thrones. What do you say? You know, it's my wife. We watched the first episode of the first season, and my wife said, "How come you haven't been seen for this?" So I rang up the agent and said, "Excuse me, you know, I met Bryan Singer for Jack and the Giant Slayer. Didn't get that, but on not getting that, I met Nina Gold and Robert Stern, who were doing the casting for Game of Thrones, because I was in season 2 and 4, and it was kind of very nerve-wracking to be offered the opportunity to go out for something that you're a big fan of anyway. So I can't wait for season 5, which I think comes out April, is it?
Excellent. Yeah, I'm not
Brilliant.
far away now.
What was your favourite scene to film in season 4 for each of you?
I think mine is without doubt the battle on the wall is an amazing thing to be part of, because my character had been a very, you could say negative. I don't know why you're laughing at me, I really don't. He's cynical about human nature. He's a product of his own experience, as we all are, but the writing just got to a superb level where the wall got the hero it deserved, and that came to me. You wouldn't say that it was just gratuitous heroism. It's what he does day in, day out, but the placing of it. And then for Neil Marshall to film it in the way that he did, because he has that experience of action, to be in an action film. And plus, on the nights that we filmed it, the big scenes of the battle, the actual coming over the wall, I get to do a Henry V. I've done a lot of Shakespeare speech, once more into the breach, to rouse the men. And it just hammered with rain. And the whole castle black just started to fill with water. And I thought, well, now I'm in Blade Runner as well, which is my favorite film of all time. And I just got it all in one go. So without doubt, that's for me, that's the scene on the wall, yeah.
Season 4 for me, I think, is the saving of Sansa. Not the actual moment where I drag her away from the wedding, but the bit after that, the rowing, the running through the town. It was a week in Dubrovnik overall, just each day going in and running through a different bit of Dubrovnik and rowing out there. And it's bittersweet a bit because although it was the most fun to film, I did end up being killed off at the end of it, which was sad. I don't get to go to Dubrovnik anymore. But it was good fun. And being drowned in wine for season 2 was good fun, sort of.
Well, I think most of you guys know what was my most favorite part in season 4. Fighting the O'Brien was, of course, a great fight. Was a great. It was great to have the experience to squeeze a man's head once in my life. So hopefully it will just be once.
For those of you who haven't seen season 4, I won't give it away, but let's just say I'm not a big fan of Area, the Hound, or Needle. Thank you.
Hi there, guys. Just wondering, who do you think deserves to be on the Iron Throne?
Who should be on the Iron Throne?
Me.
Anyone got any suggestions?
Me.
It's here somewhere.
I'm the biggest, strongest, and youngest, so I think me.
I think it'd be genuinely interesting if the lead White Walker, I can see him on the throne. That would be a very dark ending, but
Well, it would be, yeah.
it's inevitable, isn't it?
Is Sean coming back?
Well, I think the fact that my character is still alive is a good starting point. How did I survive? I think if you're too good, if you show a bit of moral character, you're going to go in Game of Thrones.
If you could swap roles, you'd like...
I want to be the Mountain. Who doesn't?
Jon Snow, I guess. Or Princess Area.
There's a point I'd like to say, which is, because I get asked this quite a lot, and I think as an actor, for me, it's a job, and I have to do right by my character, and it doesn't actually help to have too much knowledge of what goes on all around Westeros. It's a very particular thing that I have to do, and that's my job to fulfill that. And to have a knowledge of the overall, make it more difficult for me to play the character. That loneliness, that isolation of up on the wall, I try not to get too involved in it and watch it all too much. I try not to. But it's great for you guys. I mean, you've got like the whole world. It's like, what do you want? You know, you've got all that entertainment and fantasy, and it's like it's better than any history lesson you're going to get in, early modern history from the Middle Ages and the birth of nations and greed of humanity and raw. It's fantastic. But for me, I have to stick in the bleak world of Alistair Thorne, yeah.
I'd agree with that, because I think from an acting point of view, you shouldn't really know your place in the world, your character's place in the world, because you don't. Nobody knows. You just know what you know, and you see what you see. I mean, obviously, when you watch the show back, you get a bigger sense of it. But I think if you know too much, it can damage your performance a little bit.
For Owen, why do you think Sir Alistair hates Jon Snow so much, and what's it like working with Kit Harington?
Working with Kit is a real. It's a wonderful thing, because he's a young man, and this is not exactly his first job, but he's done very little before this. And so his life, he could be forgiven for it going to his head and being secure in such a beautiful piece of writing. And he might lose the fact that he's an actor and that he's what people may call a star, or whichever way you want to put it. But he deals with it hugely. He's a massive character for such a lovely little guy, and I dwarf him, and yet as a character, as a man, he has grown so much to take it in his stride, what is going on. It's very, very lovely watching it, that he's still an actor. You work with an actor. He hasn't changed in his attitude or how he wants to seem, how heroic his character should be. He's a collaborating, working actor. And that is a joy, because my hatred of him... It's very funny. When I started playing the character, I said, where am I going to get this from? Who do I possibly know? Who can I think of? And I couldn't. And what I had to do was to think of a succession of really bad things to happen to me. And I won't go into what they are, or were, so that it robs you of your own humanity, of your own joy, of your sense of humor, of your sense of hope, that everything has a brutal cynicism to it. And once I got to that place, and turning up at that quarry in the rain helps, it's not personal then. I think it is for the character. What I think the character thinks is that Jon Snow represents all the things that he might have had, and a bit more, before he had them ripped out of him. So he has humanity, he has joy, he's capable of camaraderie, of love of his fellow man, and he, I think, believes in goodness, and that we fall by the way now and again and do bad things, whereas for Alistair Thorne, human nature is very, very black and dark, and we learn civilization in order to live together. We follow patterns because we have to live together and work as a team. It's a very dark place. That's where I come from when I play it. And so he represents, he's like trying to disprove me. He's trying to disprove my theory on the world.
Hey guys, I'd like to know for all of you, who is your inspiration? And have you at all been to Australia?
I've never been to Australia, but I was lucky enough to work with Hugh Jackman on Les Miserables last year. And he was a lovely guy. And so, yeah. I suppose you ask of an inspiration, Hugh Jackman. There you go.
Hatful.
Yes, I went once to Australia. I went there for a competition. I was competing there for my strength.
All right.
And I won, of course.
How's that going?
It's going pretty good for me. My inspiration in life is probably my grandfather and my dad. I look a lot up to them.
Are they all big fellas in your family?
They are both 6'8", 6'9", tall, both talented guys and just great guys.
That's nice. Thank you. Tony?
I have never been to Australia. I'd love to go if you're inviting me. And my inspiration, I think, in terms of acting and performing, it's Ronnie Barker. I've always, if I could be an eighth of as good as he was, then yeah, that's my...
I could see you playing him.
Yes.
Yeah, good one. Owen?
I can see that, yeah, you as Ronnie Barker, yeah. I have been to Australia. I played the Sydney Festival in a play of Dance of Death by Strindberg with Ian McKellen and Francis de la Tour. And I have to say, Ian has become, over the years, an inspiration to me in how to conduct yourself, how to make sure you have something to say at these moments that is worth listening to, and being realistic about it, but never feeling that you're on the outside. That is a very easy thing as an actor, to feel that there's a group of people who are all doing fine and you're the one who didn't go to the right school, you didn't do this and that. And it's all bullshit. And he was a wonderful, wonderful inspiration to me. And there's just one very quick story, which is really nice, and I hope it's inspiring to everybody. We came out of the theater one night, and he was getting tired because the third Lord of the Rings film was about to come out, and it was feverish. You know, people were just chasing him everywhere, and he was really tired. We came out of the theater, and he said, "Can I hide behind you? Can I just come behind you? You're very big. Can I just hide behind you and come out?" I said, yeah, all right, keep your head down, and we'll get out of here, and we'll go and have a drink. Come on, let's go. And we got out of the stage door, and we rattled through, and I said, excuse me, and got through, and he was right behind me, and his overcoat pulled up, and his woolly hat on, And with that, I walked straight into a life-size cutout of Gandalf. There was a guy holding it there, and I just stopped. And so Ian went, what? And he looked at it, and he confronted himself. And there's this Gandalf, and Ian looking at it, and this guy has got a huge Sharpie pen and says, would you sign it, please? And he looked at the Gandalf, he looked at the man, he looked at Gandalf, looked at himself. And he said, yeah, all right. To whom? To whom? And the guy said, no, could you just sign it? I just want, no, he said, to whom? I know what you want to do, you want to sell it. And the more irate he got, standing there, next to a life-size picture of himself, I think I learned a lot that day.
That's lovely. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, please thank our Game of Thrones panel.